I'd like to welcome you back to my channel. Well, Christmas came a little bit early this year on December 22nd when Microsoft released the VR version of Microsoft Flight Simulator. Well, I've had almost a week now to try it out, and in this video I'd like to share my experiences with Microsoft Flight Simulator Virtual Reality as compared to my experience using the X-Plane 11 Virtual Reality. I also recently just received the pre-ordered HP G2 Reverb headset that I had pre-ordered, and in this video I'm also going to compare my experience with that and Windows Mixed Reality compared to the Oculus Rift S that I've been using in my VR with X-Plane. So stick around and I'll tell you if I think these products live up to the hype. So let's take a short demo flight from Aspen, Colorado in the venerable Beechcraft Bonanza T-tail. And I'm going to show you some video of the actual images from the headset. Now this is not an easy thing to do, so bear with me. I'll tell you that the images that you're going to see shortly here, which are from the directly from the headset, they look a bit fuzzy, but I think you're going to, compared to previous headsets, there really is no screen door effect. It's almost completely gone. Now, you'll get glimpses of the clarity here from time to time. I'm trying to hold an iPhone inside the headset, and it's almost impossible to keep it square and oriented correctly. And I couldn't turn the headset around to get the right aspect to get it to fill the whole screen. But that being said, just once in a while I'll hit the sweet spot and you'll see the sharpness of the image. It is really compelling. I just don't see the screen door effect at all, and a vast improvement over even the Rift S with super sampling or oversampling. The G2 headset seems to be very similar in weight and build to the Rift S, although I will say I love that the speakers reminiscent of the original Rift. For your ears, the sound quality is much better than the little pinhole speakers on the Rift S. There's really no way to do justice to VR with any kind of flat panel display, and the quality of the image is just not doing it justice here. But let's switch to a different mode here and continue with some more information about my experience. Now, as you go into VR, this is showing the two eye views, and of course there you have to assign buttons to center your view. You also need to assign a button or a keystroke combination to leave VR. Now I'm going to zoom in on the right eye view to fill the screen to make the presentation a little more easy to watch. In Oculus, the mirror software allowed you to display it. I don't know a way to do that with Windows Mixed Reality, so if someone has the clue, put that in the comments and let me know. Well, contrary to any impression you got from that poorly shot through the lens video I showed you earlier, I would say that this blown up version of the right eye gives you about the same clarity that you see in the headset with your naked eyes. It's remarkable. You know, by the way, moving my head around a lot. When I was a fighter pilot, they said keep your head on a swivel, and I definitely have that down. But we all do move our heads, and our eyes have a remarkable tracking ability to stay focused on where we're looking even when our head's moving rapidly. So we do tend to move our heads more than we realize, and when you start looking at videos like this, it becomes quite disconcerting. But when you're wearing the headset, you don't notice that at all. I found the setup for Windows Mixed Reality for Microsoft Flight Simulator to be quite a bit more difficult than the Oculus Rift with X-Plane, mostly because there's a little more involved. The X-Plane, possibly X-Plane where mixed reality would be similar, because you have to use Steam VR, but in this case for Microsoft Flight Simulator you need to install a program called OpenXR, and it's free, but it is an extra step that's really not documented well, and I found it to be a little bit confusing, where I found the Oculus Rift, using the Oculus Rift, which runs natively with X-Plane, very easy and a little bit less difficult to manage. From a performance standpoint, the visual quality, there's just no comparison between the two. Rift is just a step beyond, kind of like going from a standard definition television to a high def. Maybe not quite that big a change, but definitely a change that's very noticeable. People had been complaining. Now I have a fairly beefy computer with an i9, I think it's an 8900K or something, 8990, in a 2080 Ti graphics card, but with fairly high settings, I've seen very good performance. Very impressed with the performance. I haven't had stutters or any of those things that I hear people on the bulletin boards complaining about. So as far as I'm concerned, the performance is as good or much better, actually somewhat better at least, than X-Plane using my Rift S headset. Now, a major difference between Microsoft Flight Simulator and X-Plane is that X-Plane supports use of the motion or hand controllers, and Microsoft Flight Simulator decided to go with the mouse use in the cockpit. I find the mouse use in the cockpit to be a little bit of an immersion detraction. You saw those labels earlier; those are a slight distraction. But the controllers are also a pain too, because you have to pick them up and put them back down. Now, my solution was to place a little, get a wireless trackball, and then I took an old knee board I had from flying and Velcro, put some Velcro on so I could mount it and take it on and off. And I just put it in my right knee, and it's very convenient. I know right where it is. I can find it with headset on, and it allows me to do everything I need without having to have a mouse in the way. So I strongly encourage you to consider that. I really like that as a solution for not having the mouse. I know DCS people haven't had the mouse, have been using the mouse, I should say, for a while, and that's great. I'm getting used to it, and I'm still holding out for direct hand tracking, and I know that's coming eventually in all the simulators. But in the meantime, I don't think that's a big deal. It's not as big a deal as I thought. I will say that it's much easier to run the sim in X-Plane because the menus are easy to pop up right in the headset, and I find with Microsoft Flight Simulator I'm having to leave the simulator and go to the menus, and it's just a little bit more cumbersome to change things once you're in the simulator. Things like weather and so on. You can assign a key or a button to bring up that menu to change the weather and so on. You also need to assign a keyboard combination or something on your joystick to enter and exit VR, and also to center up your view. There's also the ability to assign a button to focus or to zoom in to get a better view at some of the smaller things in the cockpit. So all in all, the hand controllers was a lot less of a big deal than I thought it would be. Also, I find that setting the honeycomb switch to heading and having that heading bug available down there on my throttle quadrant is a handy way to change heading. Also, my trackball has a circular ring for the scroll ring, and I've reversed the direction so that it rotates knobs in the correct way. So if I can put my mouse on the specific knob, I can grab that thumb wheel. It's actually a rotary wheel around the ball, and use that to set frequencies and to change headings and other rotary inputs that are on dials. interesting side effect of doing the photography, or trying to do it. If someone has a really good way to do that, please let me know. But I tried using a GoPro. I tried several different things, and I just couldn't ever seem to get a really good picture that reflected what I saw with my eyes. But I did want to put that up there, and you can look at it, and if you see a glimpse of really sharp, something that looks really sharp from time to time, that's what it all looks like if it's done right. Anyway, a side effect of of my little experiment is I removed the eye shield, or whatever you call it, the plastic piece that holds the padding. It pops out of the headset, and while I was doing that filming, I removed that to get access to the lenses closer. And I tried putting the headset on with it that way, and I was surprised when I put the lenses very close to my eyes. Now maybe they have that set up for people with glasses, but if I put that headset very close to my eyes, I had almost unbelievable field of view, and the sweet spot covered the entire screen. So I'm going to experiment with a way to get a little closer to those lenses. I think I was just blown away. I could see all the way to the edges, just about towards the edge of my peripheral vision. I'm getting older, so maybe it's not as good as yours, but anyway, I really was, it looks so much better that way. So that's something I'd like to do a little research on in the future. And just one more point about the G2. I did use it for a week or two before the release of Microsoft Flight Simulator VR with my X-Plane 11. And of course, without the controllers, and I was used to using the controllers, I found it very cumbersome. I wasn't used to using the mouse. I would find myself and not know how to get back to the menus, because I always used the pop-up menus. I was a little bit disappointed that Laminar had not figured out a way beforehand to make that work together. I think they're still working on it, but that was a bit of a disappointment. I will tell you that the visual quality is very good, but I have to also be honest and say that there's just no comparison between the cockpit textures, the way they look, the way the cockpits look in Microsoft Flight Simulator compared to X-Plane. They just haven't devoted the time to that the people at Asobo did. Obviously, there's some real advantages with X-Plane still, but when it comes to VR, I think Microsoft Flight Simulator got it right for the first try, at least for me. Now, I know guys are going to argue and say that the performance was bad. I've seen all this on the message boards, but I haven't had that experience. For me, it's been a positive experience. And I just can't wait to go down to my sim pit and jump in the thing and just fly around and look at stuff. It is just so awesome. You know, I've been flying airplanes for over 50 years, and I know what it looks like. And this is what it looks like. And I've noticed, for example, with this new headset, I can see airports 5-7 miles out, and I could never do that with the Rift S. And also, it may also be the realistic terrain that's been, all the realistic scenery. Things just look like more what they really look like the airport out here ahead. It has the right look because of all the textures and the way it's been implemented, the trees and so on. So it's just really, really lifelike, and it's a great experience. And if you haven't tried VR, I'd start saving my pennies to get a good PC. I think they're going to become more affordable in the near future with the 3070 and so on, which they tell me is as powerful as the 2080 Ti, and this 2080 Ti just does a great job. You know, I love my simulator with my big screens for procedural stuff, but when it comes down to just going out and flying around and having fun, VFR, and looking at the ground, you know, exploring the ground, it's awesome. It really is. So, on the ground. And here we are back in Aspen. I thank you for watching the video today. I don't pretend to be an expert on VR. I can tell you that I plan to continue to expand that part of my flying in simulators. If you look out there at 11 o'clock or 10 o'clock, you can see those funny looking mountains. I've seen this in many places in the world, in the Microsoft world, and I don't know, it's like they've got water, some pieces of water that have the wrong elevation or something, and it's bringing the terrain up around them, but it looks crazy, and in this case totally out of place, and even a kind of a nuisance for the approach if you tried to land the other way, because it's a little tight to circle around and inside that mountain off the end of the runway. So if you've stuck around to the end here, I thank you for your attention. I thank you for being a regular viewer. If you are a regular viewer, I wish you would subscribe. I've noticed only about 30% of the views on a typical video are seen by people who are subscribers. So I know a lot of people out there watching aren't subscribers. I'd appreciate it if you'd subscribe and also share, like it, and also send it to your share it with your friends. I would also appreciate comments. I love getting your comments. I try to answer as many as I can, and I really enjoy hearing things people have to say. So feel free to comment too. Send any questions you have. I'll do my best to try to point you in the right direction as best I can. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next video. Have a great day. Here's a bonus clip of my attempted through the lens recording.